Hey guys, it's Alasia, and today we're going to be judging people. Woo! No, I'm just kidding. We listen and we don't judge. Whenever you need to vent or share your deepest, darkest secrets that should never see the light, or you just need advice on your inconvenient life, Reddit will have your back. I personally love reading Reddit stories because it just makes you feel seen, or it just gives you some juicy drama before bed. So I'm going to be sharing some with you today. Am I the asshole? Buddy's aunt is ugly. I made a song, sent it to friends. Yes, you're automatically the asshole.
Stupid questions.
My friend sent me a picture of his aunt, but she's f***ing ugly. So I made a song about it and sent it to him. Does that make me an asshole? Or am I just telling the truth? Do you hear yourself? My buddy sent me a pic of his aunt and uncle in Idaho on St. Patty's Day. She was really ugly. He should not send pictures of her. Anyways, to deal with the trauma, I made a short garage band song about his aunt. I'm sure he didn't send you the picture so you could rate his aunt. Picture this. You send your group chat a picture of a family member just to share a cute family moment you had. And 10 minutes later, you get a link from your friend like,
"Hey yo, I think your aunt is fugly. Your poor uncle ain't ever getting lucky. Yeah, she thinks she's confident. She's just delusional. And her ugly face is unconstitutional."
wow. Death to all of them. You're getting blocked, like, immediately. I was going to just keep it to myself, but it was so good, so I sent it to my friends. He's ghosting me now. Am I the asshole? 100% yes. You might even be a supervillain at this point. What prompted you to think that this would benefit your friend in any type of way? Someone said, not the asshole, because the song was good and he didn't say names. Huh? You don't need to include names to know who the song is about. He literally said the lyrics were, your aunt, she's ugly. She's so ugly. Let's get it. So ugly. Blah. Splash. Splash. Like a runaway tween. And then he added a loud woo sound like a dog at the start. That's so dusty. You don't deserve friends. I am convinced this account is trolling simply because all of his replies are so douchey. Oh, so they ghosted me because the song bad, not because his aunt ugly. Makes sense. No, he ghosted you because you're a moron. I love how that's his takeaway from all of the responses saying that he's the asshole. I wouldn't be surprised if he made a second song that sounded better to try to rekindle his friendship. For my mental health, I'm going to believe this story is fake, but it was entertaining. I served phallic-shaped burritos to rude customers. Back in high school, I worked at a burrito restaurant chain. Whenever we had customers who were assholes, showed up right before closing, or just inconvenienced us in general, we would make their food to order, but roll their burritos to be as long and skinny as physically possible. Honestly, I'm not even mad at this. I hate when people act like just because it's your job, you don't have the right to complain. Or retaliate. The customer is not always right. I'm getting flashbacks. Working in customer service will have you questioning your sanity. At my first job, I worked at Hot Dog on a Stick, and I remember closing one time. Windows closed, fryers off, closed sign up, corn dog batter cleaned out. I was washing the dishes facing away from the window, and this man came knocking. Mind you, it's 10 p.m. I was scared. Since the window was locked, I went through the door and stuck my head out just to see what he wanted. And he fixed his lips to say,
"I know you're close, but can you make one more corn dog? I'm really hungry."
Go home. Do you not see me slaving away in the kitchen so I could leave? Mopping the floor hella fast like I'm in a fucking curling tournament. Did I make him the corn dog? Yes, I did. I tried to decline, but he just wasn't leaving and I didn't know how to say no at the time. So there's that. Watch this video just be me complaining about my past experiences. Okay, we used 10 or 12 inch tortillas and would make the burritos at least 9 or 10 inches in length and maybe an inch in diameter. It was visually absurd and hilarious. If they requested their burritos to be double wrapped, we would stagger the torts to get a solid 14-inch dingus burrito. These things were so long that they hung off both sides of the basket. The best part of doing this was watching the dine-in customers eat their dildo-shaped burritos while we laughed behind the counter. Honestly, period. That's not even bad. I've heard on people spitting in rude customers' foods, dropping it on the floor before serving, all kinds of nasty stuff. This guy just gives them a thin long burrito because he thinks it's funny. Yeah, this'll show him. I get it though, because doing small little petty things, like putting a small little FU on the side of a cup, can be satisfying when you work in customer service because you can't really do anything else. My friend smells like shit. Damn. My friend of 4 years smells like Dookie, and I don't know how to tell her. I genuinely don't know how I've gone this long in her presence. Here's a couple stanky encounters for reference. The first time she came over, my sister walked into the room and immediately said, "Why does it smell like ramen packets in here?" And I think she realized there was no food present. She understood immediately and slammed the door and left. Ramen and food packets aren't the worst to smell like, in her defense. I've definitely smelled worse. Have you ever smelled someone whose sweat just smells like straight onions or dumpster? It's so pungent. I know know some people have medical conditions that like alter their smell, but ramen noodle packets just doesn't sound that bad to me. 2, never seen her brush her teeth once. We have sleepovers way too often for her to skip out on it this much. 3, my other friend sits next to her in class and she quite literally told me she could smell my friend's bits every time she opens her legs slightly, like pungently. She said it smells like rotten fish. Her boyfriend made a diss track song. Her boyfriend made a diss track song about her and published it with the chorus being, yeah, she a stanky bitch. And she still could not seem to understand that it was clearly not a fictional line. Okay, now this sounds fake. I spot something fake. There's just no way she's a walking biohazard. And the aunties don't have anything to say about it? You know the aunties have the most to say. They're the first to call out your weight, dating life, job, school. They wouldn't just draw the line at how you smell. If anything, it would just add more fuel to the fire. They'd get a whiff of her and charge up the insults. They'd have a field day with her. Not to mention school bullies, especially with how kids are today. Kids at school would be so mean to her if she was rancid. Well, actually, maybe they're in college. I don't think college kids would be that mean. I don't know though. Dropped out of school. Okay. If her ex made a diss track on how bad she stank, it would spread like wildfire around the school. And she wouldn't be able to ignore it then. And what is up with these diss tracks? This is the second time we've heard about one. Maybe that's what the kids are doing now. Here's the most recent dilemma. The icing on the cake, some may say. Last weekend we were on a double date and we opened her trunk to get the bags out of the car. And she had piles of skid-marked underwear with literal cheese and shit spread across them. Ew! If this is real, police! We all looked at each other in pure shock and disgust. And she had no shame. Guys, please help. I'm genuinely thinking of hiring someone to tell her. This has been an ongoing issue and I don't want to embarrass her by saying it straight up. I just know something about her hygiene must change. Any advice? I'm sorry, but you simply aren't a good friend if you're allowing her to walk around with poopy underwear and a green trail following behind her. There's absolutely no way she doesn't know that she's dirty. It's one thing to just smell bad and not realize it, but to be comfortable with having shitty underwear with cheese in your car, that's next level. The comments are giving the same advice that I said. It would be much more embarrassing hearing it from a stranger or romantic partner, so the friend should just tell her. The OP said, people she's had romantic connections with have told her many times, and she still does not get the hint. You'd think someone you're dating would be able to change this, but if they can't, I don't know what I can do. It's honestly such a hard thing to tell someone without it sounding rude. You just have to tell them. If you guys have a friend or someone in your life who has this problem, you have to say something. That person could have underlying health conditions that they need to be checked, or they could just be nasty. Because some people in the comments are saying that they've been through the same thing. In the military, there was a girl so nasty, they had security scrub her ass in the shower. Being a walking plague spreader. And I forced the guy to do his laundry because it stank up our living quarters. I told him I'd throw all his clothes away when he wasn't around, which he finally complied. There's no excuse for this as an adult. I'm sorry, you're telling me you have to get scrubbed by other people simply because you aren't washing your ass correctly? Something 100% needs to be said. I would hate if I was walking around smelling like swamp ass and no one had the guts to tell me. Especially my friends. That's so embarrassing. Tell me how you guys would handle the situation in the comments because I need to know. Am I the asshole for accidentally returning underwear with skid mark stains? I can't do it. I, 43 female, went to Walmart on Saturday to pick up some underwear for my son, 18 male. Why is your son 18 and doesn't know how to wipe his ass? Maybe him and the girl from the last story should get together. They sound like a match. If I had a dime for every time I seen a swamp ass story on Reddit, I'd have 3 dimes. And that's 3 too many. I noticed while doing his laundry that a majority of his underwear had holes in them. So this weekend I made sure to jot down underwear as a thing I needed to pick up when I did the weekly grocery shopping. I picked up the underwear, I got home, and gave my son his new underwear. The next day, he approaches me while I'm in his room, telling me that the underwear are a little too ill-fitting and that he needs another size. I tell him that I'll stop by Walmart today and get him a bigger size. That was your first mistake, sister. You don't return an open pack of underwear. And if they don't come in a pack, I'm not even sure if you can return them at all. I arrive at Walmart and go straight to the return area. The employee opens the bag and unfolds the first pair of underwear to reveal a giant skid mark that I didn't really notice before. As the underwear was folded in the bag, I didn't unfold the underwear and inspect them because I assumed that they would be clean. But now looking back, my son has never exactly had the record of keeping cleanliness. Grr. The employee told me I could not get a refund as the underwear had been worn already. I already knew that they didn't allow items like underwear to be returned if worn, but I had just assumed that they wouldn't have been able to tell. This is why you wash all your clothes before you wear them. That is disgusting. But a pair of those underwear just so happened to have a stain on them. Am I the asshole for trying to return these underwear? You're more than the asshole, girl. You're the entire colon. How about that? You and your son are nasty. He knew what was crawling in his pants, which is why he had the nerve to fold the underwear before putting it in the bag. The mom tried to explain herself by saying she taught him how to wipe when he was young, but he fell out of the routine. Routine? He works hard at his job and doesn't get a lot of time off. So when he's home, he likes to relax. And I'll never hold that against him. I'm not one to partake in the clean wars, but it gets to a point. I feel sick. I spent years thinking I was invisible to men. Now I realize I just missed the signs. I met a handsome guy at an event, but he didn't seem like the type of guy who'd ever notice me, so I forgot about him. However, after that, I kept having weird interactions with him. Sometimes I'd catch him looking at me, and he'd maintain eye contact, and other times he'd look away. On occasion, we'd end up staring at each other for about 30 seconds. I didn't know guys had like a thing that they do to get girls to notice that they're flirting. Girls do the hair flip or the look over the shoulder and pretend they don't see you standing there. But a continuous look back is a dead giveaway that he likes you. Or maybe I'm just delusional. I don't know. Unless it's like one of those uncomfortable stares where the person is only looking at you because you keep looking at them. And it's just like an awkward back and forth thing. But I feel like you can kind of tell the difference between someone thinking you're cute versus them just looking back because you're staring. He tried to talk to me 3 times. 3 times? And you couldn't tell he was interested? But I moved away. I never went out of my way to look for him because it was really awkward to keep making eye contact with the same person. And sometimes just end up staring at each other. You moved out of the way 3 times? Girl, he probably thought he was bothering you and took a hint. Imagine being interested in someone and they leave mid-conversation every time. Who's staying for that? He's showing all his cards. The ball is literally in your court and you're dodging them. I finally realized it wasn't all in my head when we returned from summer break and he gave me the biggest smile and yet again had the staring thing. So I assumed he had been practicing some stuff I read about on the seduction subreddit with an ugly girl. I didn't look like what guys like him would typically find attractive, so there was no way it could have been genuine interest. Girl, go get your man. I honestly thought I was invisible to men because I was a minority and an international student. Now I'm seeing more social media couples with our pairing. And I really regret thinking that man was probably paying attention to me as a joke and not because he might have been interested in me. I know how much courage it takes to approach someone, and I'm disappointed I thought so little of someone's efforts. Now it's too late to find a partner. It's never too late for anything. You can find love, a career, new hobbies, and new friends at any age. And I hope she meets that special someone soon and recognizes her beauty. On that note, I am calling it here. This was a little sporadic, but I didn't want to just focus on one subreddit today. Hope you guys had fun. I know I did. Bye.